So firstly, if you go to your image and go to the autos, auto tone, auto contrast, auto color, and just try them out and see what happens. So auto tone has made my picture a bit lighter already. I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to leave it. Image auto contrast didn't make any difference really in this particular situation. Auto color, again, brought the color of the dog out a bit more, the orange came out a bit more. So that instantly is a bit better from what I had before, but I'm still not particularly happy with it. I mean, there's quite a lot of shadow here, and I just want it to be a bit crisper and a bit more colourful. So you can also, instead of just using the auto functions, you can go into adjustments, and you've got brightness and contrast. So I can, if my photo is underexposed, I can then just have a go at playing that. I'm just going to move it up slightly. Contrast, again, I want to get rid of the shadow, then I might want to pull this around a bit. If you go adjustments and vibrance, you can play with these settings. Obviously, if you have preview on, the colour is coming out a lot better now with the vibrance up, but you don't want it too high that the picture starts looking fake. So, but I'm quite happy with that. I think it still looks pretty good. Saturation, now that starts looking too orange, too fake. So I'm just going to put it down. I'm quite happy about there. So that's just another one you can adjust. You've also got colour balance, photo filter that you can have a look at, and hue and saturation. Now hue and saturation is if you want to do something silly, you can change all the colours. Now we don't want to do that in this situation. We're just concentrating on trying to make the photo look better. So you might be able to adjust the hue and saturation slightly, and it will help your photograph. The saturation will definitely help your photograph if you want to make it look a bit more, pull out the colours. And then lightness, again, I can just adjust it slightly. So these are all very small adjustments, but they're making the colour of my photograph come out. Now, some of these settings are really good at doing the whole photograph, but actually sometimes you don't want to do the whole photograph, you just want to do part of the photograph. So for instance, my sky is quite cloudy, it's a little bit blue, but I just think it could be bluer. So in this situation, what I could do is just select the sky using the Magic Wand tool. You need to change your tolerance levels appropriately to use the Magic Wand to select the whole sky. Or I could select that bit and then I can press Shift and then I can click in this gap and it adds it. So now I've only got the sky highlighted. I can go back into those settings, either the auto ones, or come back into hue and saturation, and I can play a bit more. So let's see, I think that looks, yeah, I quite like that. It's a bit brighter blue now. It makes it look like it was actually a nicer day than it was. So I could do the mountains as well, but that would be a little bit harder to select. So I'd have to use the Magic Wand and click around. Oops. Trackpad. Click around and add it all in. Or equally, if you remember from your Year 8 stuff, you can do the magnetic lasso. So let's try that instead. It's the same as Illustrator. This is all better if you're using a mouse. It'll be far more accurate. That's not too bad. Pretty happy with that. So now I've selected that area. Again, I can go back into my adjustments and try hue and saturation. Vibrance might be a better one. Obviously that's starting to look a bit unrealistic, so I'm not particularly happy with that. So I'll put it back on 0. You can type the numbers in as well. So change the saturation. It's not going to work. Like this, it's not going to work. So let's see what happens if we go into image, adjustments, and vibrance. So I can make more of a silhouette out of it if I want to. Not much though, I don't think. Go grey, go grey. Okay, and then I could do other parts as well. Also, if you remember again from your Year 8 work, you can use content aware. For instance, I might not be happy with these footprints around. I might want to make it look like the perfect, try to make it look like the perfect beach with no footprints. So I can use content aware. So again, you could use the lasso tool to select an area. So I'm going to go for these footprints here, just to show. So I've highlighted them, lassoed them, then you go to Edit, Fill, Content Aware, and those settings are okay, the default settings are okay, normal, opacity, and then hopefully it picks up other parts of the sand around and it gets with them. Now that's worked pretty well, so I'm very happy with that one. Sometimes you have to experiment, it doesn't work so well, so sometimes you do have to have a bit of a play. Let's try those. Edit, fill. Okay. Yeah, pretty happy with that as well. You might want to, if it doesn't look, depending on your photograph, you might not get such a good effect, especially if there's lots of colours. This is works quite well because it's sand. I mean, this looks a bit smooth now compared to this sand here, but at least it's all the same colour, so it's less likely to be noticed. But if you've got lots of different colours, then it can be a bit of a problem. What you can do is then you could use content aware again over the space, sometimes that works, or use tools like the blur tool or the smudge tool to just help break up lines in between. You can make the size of the brush a bit bigger, and you can just go around and break things up. I don't really need to in this situation, but it's a possibility. Let's just try this one down here. Now I think this one might be a bit more problematic. Let's try. Notice I'm not doing all of it at the same time. It's more likely to go wrong if you use all of it at the same time. Oops, goes wrong. It's supposed to be on fill. Okay. Might pull part of the dog in. Oh no, it's pretty good. Sometimes it might pull this part of the image in, and then suddenly you get two dogs and stuff like that. So again, I'm pretty happy with that. It's worked pretty well. Let's see if this one works. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that as well. Last one is going to be the tricky one here, next to the dog. Yeah, see. So now it's replicated part of the dog onto that, so that's not going to work. But what might work in this situation now is to redo this bit again. Sometimes it just doesn't work and you have to leave it, but I could try doing the content aware again, or I could try using the stamp clone tool. Stamp clone tool, again, did in Year 8. If you click on an area you want to copy, so I'm going to copy this area, a source point, so if I press, I'll show you, you have to press Alt and click to find the source point. So holding down Alt now, my cursor changes, so my source point is going to be here, and that means now when I go over this, it's copying the source point over my point that I'm on. I could have made it a bit bigger by changing the size up here, a bit easier. But... Okay, so that's, I've got rid of lots of the footprints around. I could do a bit more work here and there on it. I've managed to change my background and I've managed to improve my picture generate. I also could improve the way my picture is laid out. So I could crop it, I could change the dimensions of it. So for instance, I could decide that I want the dog to be more on the right hand side. So I cut it, I pasted it, I made a new picture, then put the dog more on the right hand side. I might want to crop some more of the bottom out, different things you could do. Your photo is obviously going to be slightly different. You need to think about those different tools and how you can improve your photograph to make it clearer, maybe more vibrant, maybe have a better contrast, maybe getting rid of over or underexposure. There are lots more other tricks. For instance, getting rid of red eye is possible. If your picture's got red eye, if you go on YouTube and type these things in, you can find different videos to show you how to do those things as well. So let's see how my photograph is different. So that's my original photograph, and that's my original. And I think you can quite clearly see that this would make a far better print in a magazine or a publication, or if I wanted to make a present of it, if I wanted to put it up on my wall or put it even on electronically on a website or post, then this photograph is a lot more colourful, a lot more interesting than the original. So that's how you can use Photoshop to edit your image. As I said, there's lots of other ways of doing different things, so experiment, try things out. Remember, you can always undo. It's always useful to have your history around, and then it's easy to go back and undo experiments that you're trying. Remember, trial and error is a good way of learning, trying different things out, seeing what works, undoing if it doesn't work, and saving your work every so often. If you're happy with it, save it every so often. At that point, then you can experiment on it a bit more, and then you can always go back to the previous version.